What's up, America? This is Kim and Neil with Geauga Firearms Academy. Thanks for watching. We're getting a big influx of new shooters, and one question we're getting often is, how do I buy my first gun? So we thought we'd give you guys some tips here today.
You guys may or may not know a little bit about my background. When I first got into the professional firearms instruction, I did like a lot of folks. I started working for a gun range for pennies, right? To get that experience and to get in front of a lot of folks and learn the process. And in that process, for any of you who have worked in a firearms store or know somebody that has, we could all write books on the craziest stuff that we've seen, and pretty much the epicenter of where all this nonsense in the shooting community begins. So hopefully we can give you a little education and get you on the right track.
As we all know, size matters. Gun size, that is. So one of the most popular guns sold is the M&P Shield. Unfortunately, by a lot of new gun owners, this is the first gun they go to.
Yeah, I mean, when I was around the store, there was no question as far as the big brands out there. This outsold them all, including Glock. Glock is by far the most a brand, but I'm talking about a specific gun, the Shield. It crushed it, and it's a very small pack. I mean, this actually has a light on it, and even given all that, this gun can be easily concealed. And of course, when we're looking for, when we're new and we're approaching this whole community of shooting and so forth, we always have the, you got a little friend on you here.
Oh.
We always have our end result in mind, which is
Concealed carry.
but I can tell you, as from an instructor perspective, right? You want to end this one?
Yeah, you're miles away, and you're gonna have a much better experience with a larger gun.
So we're going to talk here about the big brother. It doesn't matter what brand this happens to be, both M&Ps. Keep it in the family just so we have an understanding. This is the M&P 2.0. This is the 4-inch. This is your service model. This would be the Glock 19, etc. Doesn't really matter. The point of the matter is this is a double stack, okay? Full-size gun. If we take these two and compare them, I know they're black on black, but you'll obviously get the point. The grip is going to be significantly longer. The barrel is going to be significantly longer. And additionally, the width of the guns, you're going to have a lot larger grip area. So when we teach the fundamentals of shooting, okay, and we're talking about how do we perform marksmanship, we talk about grip, proper grip. Let's also talk about felt recoil, okay? And by the way, just like a lot of other brands, it's not only an Smith & Wesson, but these grip panels in the rear for the back strap can be taken apart and sized down to different size hands. Kim's hands are obviously significantly smaller than mine. That said, we have to look at a little bit of physics, right? So we have these are both 9mm, yeah. And you know how many PSIs are in a 9mm?
35,000.
35,000. That's pretty rough, but pretty close, okay? And the bottom line there is when that energy goes off, it is the same. But what is not the same are the guns, right?
So you can have a different felt recoil for each gun.
So what is felt recoil?
It's how much energy you're gonna feel when you shoot the gun.
Now, for the keyboard warriors, you're gonna be like, well, you can't reduce. No, you can't. I'm not talking about reducing it, the amount of energy. What I'm saying is how much you feel as a human being, okay? Not a keyboard warrior, human being. And that amount of energy is lessened by the fact that we have a heavier slide, more mass, a heavier spring, okay? A larger grip area to make contact with the gun. So although, yes, the energy's the same,
what you actually feel is going to be much different.
bingo.
And another thing we get a lot too is we get with the new shooters, especially women, they come in and they look at this gun and like, wow, that one looks so much less intimidating than the big boy there. But I'm like, no, trust me, you're gonna have a much better experience with that gun than this gun. And the smaller you get, the more you get like a cannon in your hand, and it's hard to control.
Because we always assume bigger is better, and in this case, it is.
It's true. So if you can, we always suggest that you start off with a larger gun and learn the fundamentals, become proficient, and then you can graduate down to the small guy that's easier to conceal, and then maybe you can transfer that to your home defense gun or fun range gun. But if you can do that, we always suggest that.
First gun, second gun.
Another big mistake, we have people come in all the time who are looking to buy a gun for their girlfriend or wife, they're looking for what they're going to buy, and they always go right for the revolvers because they're not strong enough. They can't rack a pistol, and that's not true. We have students that are well into their 70s, even 80s, who can easily rack a pistol if they know how to do it correctly. And we have videos if you want to watch and see the tips and tricks. They can do it. So if you like revolvers, rock and roll, have a great time, that's awesome. If you shoot them well, that's what you want, great and wonderful. But don't think that you just have to get a revolver.
Well, Kim did a really nice delivery there, so I'm going to give you my delivery. If you're a guy that thinks your wife or girlfriend isn't smart enough to shoot a pistol, but you are, or that she's physically unable to do so without a major disability, you're an idiot, and never come to my class and never subscribe to my channel. Here's another one that comes along a lot. Folks will come in, obviously no education or experience with firearms, and so they automatically assume that they got this all figured out, and they start looking at guns, and they look at a gun like this, maybe not necessarily 1911, but it's just one that I have that has this particular feature, and they're going to see this safety lever on there. Okay? The first assumption to them is,
well, that gun's so much safer than this gun.
yeah, because it has a safety lever. Okay? Obviously, with a single action gun, some gun types that's required. But that's on an M&P, for example, you can also get a safety lever. I don't care what you pick, all right? I do care that you pick it for the right reasons. This does not, you know what I'm gonna say?
It does not make it safer.
Does not make it safer. I could take all the safeties off the gun. My attitude and behavior towards this tool is what's gonna determine whether I'm safe or not. I could put a bunch of safeties on here. If I act the fool, bad's gonna happen, all right? I'll fill in the blank on that one. So safety levers, okay? I will tell you that for the most part will probably get you killed because you're gonna buy this gun thinking that because you have it now. Well, actually, Kim, so if someone buys a gun, what's the thought in their mind? What do they always
think? It's like garlic, and it's gonna
That's
keep
right.
the vampires away, and
I got a
things
gun.
will never happen.
Yeah, so of course I'm safe, which is totally ridiculous. That's like saying I bought a chainsaw, I never used it, but I'm a lumberjack. Doesn't work that way. That said, I have many drills where we'll put a gun on the ground, a student will pick it up and shoot it, and it's their own gun, the one they brought, the one they supposedly know, the one they shoot a lot, and they're amazing and whatnot. And of course, what I do is I look at the gun like it's super awesome, I've never seen this thing before. I put the safety on, and I put it on the ground. You want to tell them what happens next?
They pick it up, and then they're like, what's wrong with my gun? It's jammed. Oh my goodness.
Sometimes they'll even try to rack it.
Yeah.
And then they look back at me with this terrified look, like something really happened. What actually happened? Oh, the safety was on.
And that's just a little bit of stress just from being in a class. Can you imagine when your life is actually on the line, how much more stress you're going to have? You're not going to remember to do that.
Nailed that, for sure. And that's really not a whole lot of stress, ultimately, right? Now, if we were to do this gun properly, if we were to use this tool properly when we're at the range, we would be taking the safety off, re-engaging, taking the safety off, re-engaging. When we're not shooting, the safety would be back on. When we're going to shoot, the safety's off. Whether I'm changing mags, doing whatever the case is, that's how that works. So that when it's in my holster, safety be on, and then when I'm going to draw this thing out, safety be off. Simple as that. Oh, hear that click? There it goes. So if you're going to run a gun that has a safety lever, well and good, but what do we have to do?
You have to practice, practice, practice how you carry it and how you use it.
Bingo. Remember what you just said. How you carry it. Don't cheat yourself. Let's start the great debate, shall we? Once again.
The caliber debate, which we like 9mm.
That we like. 9mm is the answer. If you go to any sales SKU and anywhere in the United States, 9mm is going to outsell everything else, and there's a reason for that. There's a reason why law enforcement, there's a reason why military predominantly all use 9mm in a handgun. I don't care about your nonsense charts and this and that. With modern day ballistics, hollow point ammo, etc., 940 and 45, all equal, okay? What do we get in the advantage there? I always have more rounds in the same size gun in a 9mm. I have the easiest to shoot. And by the way, does it matter if you miss with a cannon? No. So you have to put, most importantly, above all these things, most importantly, you have to put rounds effectively on your target.
For example, we have a lot of students, and many are surgeons, they're ER doctors, and they have told me, they've said when someone comes in with a gunshot wound, they're like, oh, that's a 40, or oh, he would have just survived if it was just a 9mm. It's either you hit it or you didn't. So
yeah, the wound cavity is the wound cavity in your major 3. I didn't throw in 380. Here's the deal. The whole purpose of 380, the birth of 380, is so that somebody came along and said, oh my, the smallest 9mm that they make is still so big, I need a gun even smaller. I don't understand that. That is ridiculous. Anybody can easily conceal the Shield or 43 or whatever, pick your poison, small 9mm.
You have to make some changes, but you can do it.
I mean, yeah, if you go, I'm wearing all spandex for the rest of my life, that's going to be an issue, okay? Outside of that, you can do that. And whether it's a 380 isn't going to really make that a difference. But we can actually engineer a 380 to be even smaller. And all you end up with is a projectile that's almost identical to your 9mm, but with a much less velocity and much less effective threat deterrent, I guess is the best way to say that without getting YouTubed, okay? 9mm by far, most in the gun, cheapest to shoot, readily available, end of discussion.
Now let's get into some tips to help you decide on what kind of gun you should get. First things first is just like cars, you know, it's not one size fits all. Everyone's different. You have different hand sizes, you have different uses for the gun, and just overall how you feel when you shoot it. Do you shoot it well or do you not? So if anyone ever tells you you have to buy gun X because it's the best gun in the world, just shut them off and don't listen, because not everyone's the same.
And a lot of the major manufacturers make a great gun, okay? I'm not a Glock fan. Really don't like them. I shoot them for a living. I shoot them the most of any gun I own because I shoot them for a living. I carry them for a living, etc. I'm not a fan. If I had to put my own money down, I wouldn't buy one. That said, it's a great gun, and I would never discourage someone from buying that great gun if it fits their needs. So let's just be clear on that. There's a lot of ego that gets involved in this nonsense. Well, I do this. It's not a Chevy Ford thing. There's several manufacturers that are good. There's several questionable manufacturers, and really the price difference is not that big. Please, I beg of you, please do not buy the cheapest gun that you can find. I don't care if you have to save money for a few months. Trust me, where we are right now in this environment, you're not getting a permit anytime soon anyway, okay? And besides, even if we could get it magically, we still have to get proper training to carry this gun. So don't worry about the time frame so much. If you gotta wait a couple months to get a better gun, do so. Major brands, that would be Smith & Wesson, Glock, Springfield, SIG, CZ. Those brands, okay, and I'm not, there's a lot of other good brands, but I'm saying those 5 brands, okay, you will find what?
You'll find the most gear, the most parts, the most everything that you're gonna need for them. I can't tell you how many times people write to us and they tell us this weird gun that we've never ever heard of, and they're like, who makes a holster for it? It's like if they had stuck with the larger brand, you get a lot more options.
Yeah, if you're Googling, listen, if you're Googling and having difficulty finding a holster for your gun, that's probably not an ideal setup, right? So if you're thinking of buying ABC gun, Google, can you find holsters for it first before you even go to the gun store and buy it? Is it readily available? Is it super popular? Because I realized to us, I could name you off the model numbers of super popular guns. A lot of gun people can. But if you're not a gun person yet, you have no idea. You wouldn't know the difference between a High Point and a Glock, probably, as far as what's popular, okay? So, piece of advice, Google, can you get, holster for this setup? Can you find it? Okay, and if it doesn't pop up in the first 3, there's a problem there, right? Because everybody wants to sell holsters and accessories for guns. Okay.
So if you want to get a fun gun, and you're going to get some unusual one, of course do it. But if you're looking, you don't have a lot of money and you're just going to start off with just one gun, I would definitely make sure you stick with something that you can find gear and parts for.
Honestly, buy a used gun. Seriously, the used on guns, that's like, think about all the people I know that use guns, hardly any of them use them. I mean, they bought it, they put it in a drawer, they shot it a couple times a year. That's not used. I mean, the thing is not even broken in. So you can get some really good deals getting name brand better guns than the brand new cheap gun. So stick with the main manufacturer brands. Again, Smith & Wesson, Glock, SIG, CZ, Springfield. You're gonna be fine, not an issue. So say you go to the gun shop and you buy this gun, right? There's this thing called laws, and so what happens is when this gun comes in, wherever it came from that store, or you got it delivered, you sign paperwork. I'm not gonna get in all the details, but you sign that, and then that gun transfers. Okay, it's a chain of custody. It goes from that store now to you. It's yours. I don't care. 1 second, you signed it, you paid for it, out you go. You walk out the door and you go, oh, I just watched this awesome video on YouTube and it said, don't buy this crazy gun that I've never heard of. So you go, I'm going to take it right back. Guess what?
They can't take it back.
They can't. It doesn't work that way. They can't put it back as new gun anymore. It was transferred. It's a serial number. It goes to important organizations, and they can't take that back. So the only thing they can do is put it in the used case. Again, it was never even taken out of the store hardly. Doesn't matter. So once you buy that gun, it's yours, and you're going to get, whether you owned it for 5 years, 3 years, or 30 seconds, let's assume they were both never shot, the value is the same.
Just like a car. You drive it off the lot.
It's even worse though. Even a car, I think you could probably get away with it. They could probably do like a 3-day return or something, but it doesn't work that way with guns. It's absolutely sold.
And I know it's really difficult right now because there's a lot of restrictions and a lot of places aren't open, but if possible, if you can have access to the guns you're looking at, try them out first. A lot of ranges normally rent them, so you can try them before you buy, or if you have a friend who has one, you can try shooting it beforehand. That's great. Even if you can just go to a shop and just hold it in your hand and see how maybe the grip texture is too rough for you, or maybe you can't reach the trigger right, or maybe you just don't like how it feels in your hand. So it does help even if you can just hold it, but even better if you can shoot it before. That's the best.
So people buy guns and they watch TV or they talk to their buddy, and all of a sudden they start spending money right off the rip on Gucci gear, triggers and lights and lasers and all this nonsense. Okay, you don't need any of that. The only thing I'd say is if you bought a gun with plastic sights, obviously Glock is the most common, I would replace those with metal sights. Okay, especially if it's a defensive tool. That said, the most important element of all of this is
training.
And I realize that 0.1% of people who are going to watch this video are ever going to come to our training. So it's not like I'm trying to sell you on us. I don't care where you go, okay? But you got to get solid training.
And the best shooters are actually our new shooters because you don't have all those bad habits.
Absolutely.
So if you start off right and you get trained in the fundamentals correctly, then you're actually going to be on a better path. Because if you start trying to teach yourself and you learn all these bad habits, now you got to unlearn all those and relearn the right things. So if you can get on the right path, great. Another part of it is learning how to take care of your gun. We find that people either do one or two things. They either try to run the gun dry, or they try to just like dump a bunch of oil everywhere, or grease, or whatever they use, and they end up causing problems.
And the latter, the over-oiling, is usually the bigger problem of all. If you don't have enough lubrication on it and it doesn't run right, we can fix that. But once you put oil in places it shouldn't be, we got to disassemble that. You're going to take it to a gunsmith or an armor or somebody else with there. Don't do it from a YouTube video, please. And so that it can be done properly and effectively and put back together. So that's really important. We're going to wrap this video up, but I just want to end this thing. It's kind of a code I live by when it comes to all this, and I want to share it with you guys. I've done it many times with videos. You need to have a why behind all the things you buy and do. In other words, if you bought this brand of gun, this model specifically of this gun, you need a why. Not because just Joe Blow told you, the sales guy said this was awesome. Because you tried a couple others, you felt a couple others, you found that trying these, that this led to the best results, etc., etc. It's easiest to use the controls. Some type of explanation on why that works best for you, which is what's most important.
We hope you guys found this video helpful. If you did, please give us a thumbs up, like, share, comment. If you have any questions, let us know. We try to get back to as many as we possibly can. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe here on YouTube. Click the bell so you get notified every time we put a video out. And you can, of course, find us on Facebook, on Instagram, and we put all of our premium content on Patreon. Until next time, remember, it's always
better to be judged by 12 than carried by 6. This is going to be controversial.
Or I gotta wait.
If you're a guy that thinks your wife or girlfriend isn't smart enough to shoot a pistol, but you are, or that she's physically unable to do so without a major disability, you're an idiot, and never come to my class and never subscribe to my channel.
You're terrible.